and welcome to the live stream. Today we're going to have a nice drinky poos and read what is in our favourite conspiracy paper. It's beautiful. All the anti-vaxxer stuff and all the lizard people stuff all in one place. So we don't have to go looking far for it. So, come across here. It's called The Light. It was actually put up because regular newspapers weren't apparently telling the truth. Which, of course, if it is the Sun, generally isn't the truth. So, the first page is after. I'm going to move the screen chat a minute. Down there. The science delusion. This is where we're going. It's all going downhill from here. Really good stuff. Oh look. What we're crying about today, our little vaccine buddies. MPs vote for forced vaccines. Oh, they're being made to stick vaccines in themselves so they do not die. Oh no. Cheesy puff. On July 13, after a 90-minute debate in a vote the public hardly knew about. It was just on PM's Question Times, on Parliament TV, the BBC and everywhere else. MPs voted 319 to 246 in favour of forcing care workers and all those working in care homes to receive experimental injections. Which are part of the mass mRNA drug trials being carried out until 2023. Is this something with David Icke, isn't it? David Icke. Perhaps they are still under the impression there is a deadly contagious disease out there. But after 18 months with no evidence of one whatsoever, just masses of people dying. One must now really start to question the sanity of these so-called representatives. Well, one does question the sanity of the so-called representatives. I also question how many children Boris Johnson has. Only he knows. This is exactly how repressive dictatorships are formed. Legislation is passed while most of the country is distracted by rather less meaningful events than the total removal of their personal freedoms forever. I mean, if we were really free to do anything we wanted, we wouldn't need laws at all. We wouldn't have laws at all. We wouldn't have religion either. Our laws just go around. It'd be like the purge. Every day, people just go around committing mass murder and having lots of fun, beating the snot out of each other and looting everything. That is what total freedom looks like. So you have to have societal controls to make sure everyone can live in harmony in the society. But if you want total freedom, that's just like the purge. Every day. This legislation covers not only the regular working staff, but also requires that anyone who enters an adult care home facility be fully up to date with their vaccines, which currently stands at 2 COVID ones, with a discussion of a further regular boosters. Isn't that nice? We get boosters for free. And including emergency workers, of course. Oh look, there's a devil. Save the child, mummy. Anti-vaxxer Karen. Save the child from the devil. Yeah, you're not buying that. It's quite a good artwork actually, is that? I would put that on my computer if it were anti-vax. Tradesmen also need it, caterers, hairdressers and so on. Anyone who therefore thinks it's going to stop at all care home workers is again being deluded. Yes, we are deluded. We are not deluded. The vote went ahead regardless of the fact that there was no impact assessment available to be seen, despite explanatory notes stipulating that there is a risk assessment. MPs were not able to read this even after the vote had already been passed, but it's not the first time Parliament has misled us. She's misled us into everything is fine. Jazz hands. Hello. Are you entering to listen to my stream?
No.
No. Okay.
You got 0 viewers right now.
I know I have 0 views, but I'm recording for YouTube. Thanks for the interruption.
It says streaming there.
Yes, but I'm doing both.
Who are?
Yes, my helpful technician.
Well, I'm not. She uses me.
Yeah.
Uses me and abuses me.
It's fantastic free labour.
Thanks.
The care home residents themselves are not required to be vaccinated. Only the working staff. If you are found to have been working in adult care home and not fully vaccinated, you can be given a £4,000 fixed penalty notice. The law was originally going to be elderly care homes only. However, they have extended this discussion to cover all adult care homes, so it should do. Because if you've got young adults with learning disabilities and other disabilities, they're more likely to be susceptible to the virus, therefore they need protection. From the virus. Even those who have received spike protein shots, the spike protein shots, state that nobody should be forced to take part in the mRNA injection trials, which goes against the Nuremberg Code and basic medical ethics. Discrimination is always how genocide begins. Oh no. What, they're going to kill anti-vaxxers? They don't have to kill anti-vaxxers. Anti-vaxxers will drop down dead of some disease. It's a waste of government money to set up concentration camps to stick anti-vaxxers in. They will just kill themselves. And unfortunately, their children are sort of there to drop off as well, because they won't get them vaccinated, but they'll all drop off. So I opened a concentration camp to do that for you. Just over 75 years after Britain's brave men and women fought off the totalitarian menace to keep our country free. Yes, my granddad was one of those. And he would agree that you get your flipping vaccine and shut the fuck up. And stop being babied. It seems we have surrendered our individual sovereignty and the right to choose ourselves and prosper, falling hang on. Yes, falling for the age of old tyrants' ruse of wanting to protect its citizens and constantly telling us it's for our own good, as we are herded and restricted. Yes, it is full-on Holocaust in your imagination. The vegan teacher will tell you all what about a Holocaust actually is. Not only is the Parliament quickly shaping up to be similar to that of the Reichstag in 1933 to 45, it seems it is determined to far surpass all other lapdogs to tyranny in history. Really? Really? You are I mean, there are certain things that Boris does that is very Nazified. Like, I hate migrants. I hate anyone that isn't white. I'm British, but no, making you get a vaccine is not Nazism. Oh, jeez. Yes, you just heard that correctly. They think they're in the Holocaust, Cameron.
Where's the chat even at?
It was.
Do view. Wait, I'll do it.
Do it.
See what he's saying.
I've got it. It's up there. It's there.
Oh, it's there.
It's there. I moved it across. I thought I moved it right the way across.
Oh, he's chilling. You can move that then to the side there.
There we go.
It's not on your screen.
Yeah, it's not on the screen. Don't want to be mistaken for any Nazis making people have vaccines.
Yeah.
Following on quickly from the disturbing covert.
You don't want anyone saying
source.
you don't want that up whilst you record it on YouTube anyway.
Right.
In case people say something stupid when it's in your YouTube video. Like safe to say like the N word in there. It'll appear on your YouTube video.
Alright. I didn't know that. And I could get into trouble for it.
No, you couldn't get into trouble. It's just they'll take down the video. That's it. They'll just take down the video because it has N word in it. That's it.
I'll probably have a lot more than this.
It's fine.
Yeah, we're getting this sorted. Thank you.
4 gabbers.
Can I carry on reading the crap?
Have we got any 4 gabbers in the chat? Look at him, he's followed. Do you not see it?
Where does it say that?
Yeah.
Ah. This. Oh, right.
That doesn't really work, to be honest. Because you have to keep refreshing it. Look. Oh, no, man. It's followed you and unfollowed you.
Yeah.
Probably.
Keep in mind, we're sagging off the anti-vaxxers.
Yeah.
Right.
See ya.
See ya. Thank you, technician.
No worries. 1 minute, don't do anything.
Highly qualified technician is Cameron. Needs higher pay. Where were we? Oh yes. Saying that anti-vaxxers are comparing it to the Reichstag. Yes. Well, you get the idea. It will also. Hang on, what the hell? Following on quickly from the disturbing Covert Human Intelligence Sources Act, passed on March the 1st, which allows many state agents and their nominated informants to commit most crimes against individuals if it helps the state protect its interests. The Police Sentencing Courts and Crime Bill, dubbed the Anti-Protest Bill. I'm anti the Anti-Protest Bill, has now passed its third reading in the Commons and is set to move to the Lords, and doubtless the statute books will, with little opposition from anyone interested in defending the rights of the ultimate minority, the individual man, woman or child. Guess what? Who's against it? Labour is. Could vote Labour. Labour's against this bill. And all the left are against this bill. In summary, the bill will allow police to prevent any form of protest and imposes outrageously tough sentences for those convicted of being a public nuisance. Yes, plain English, you stood out on the street, you waved a banner, you're making noise, public nuisance. Yeah, I'm anti that, and I don't know anyone who isn't anti that. Right, are we surprised this piece of legislation to make Stalin and... What? Oh, gee. Well, the nation was distracted by England's toils in the Euro football. No. Just no. Stalin's going a bit too far now. He's a despot, but he's not Stalin. He couldn't be Stalin. That's too much child support to play. Being in their draconian laws. Being in place to remove the last vestiges of our freedoms while they remain asleep and oblivious. We are leaving. Would it have made any difference if it had been another distracting spectacle, keeping people's eyes and minds off the draconian laws put in place to remove the last vestiges of our freedom while they remain asleep and oblivious to the world we are leaving our children? Think of the children. Yours won't be around. They're not vaccinated. That is the truth of it. Not only do they have the legal basis for the total perpetual control of all mankind. What the hell is this? I know Boris Johnson's a tosser, but he's not that kind of evil genius. They also have the technology, or mostly willingly used by us, and further being enhanced and upgraded every day, with all means remaining free, rapidly disappearing. Do you know what? Are you saying you've got banned from YouTube for being homophobic or spreading hate or rubbish about vaccines? Think about everything moving online, everything connected, and eventual disappearance of cash. Oh no. Everything's going to be online, like banks. And shit. Who knew? We were heading there anyway, and if computers are doing everything, then it saves us from having to do it. And then you bring in something which is called a universal allowance. Give everyone a paycheck, no matter how much money they're earning, and then we can all work together and improve. Think about moving online, everything connected, and the eventual disappearance of cash. It will mean that these regimes will be able to rule us remotely, with no means of surviving for those who do... Oops, did I burp? No, that was the pop that burped. Rule us remotely, with no means of surviving for those who do not prepare now to live outside of the digital prison. They are creating willing slaves, sleepwalking future generations into abject poverty, misery and control. While it is most certainly a conspiracy, one only needs to look at the laws that we have passed. Right. Other than the vaccine one, right, if you're discussing the cannot go and protest one, I'm absolutely in agreement with you. If you're discussing that people that are working in care homes and with residents that have illnesses need to get a vaccine or else, no, I'm not. Oh, look. This guy, I've been doing my researches on this guy. He's very interesting. Dr. Stefan Lanka. All claims about viruses and pathogens are false. You haven't been smoking anything there in Germany, have you? My thesis is not complex. All claims about viruses and pathogens are false and based on easily recognised and understandable, verbally false interpretations of bullshit. The true causes of diseases and phenomenon attributed to viruses have a different explanation, and one that is much clearer than the current prevalent pseudo explanations. Oh, give me your non-pseudo explanation. This is because while scientists in laboratories think they are working with viruses, in fact they're only working with certain components of dying tissue or cells acquired under very special circumstances. Their basic belief is that these tissues and cells die because they are infected with a virus. In reality, these laboratory tissues and cells die because they are starved and poisoned as a result of of testing itself. Virologists mainly believe in the existence of virus because they administer to the tissues and cells supposedly infected blood, saliva from other infected body. This guy here that thinks all viruses are fake, right, and he's going to give us, I'm not even going into this, right, did this. Vaccine denier, bet £100,000 the measles virus does not exist. He lost. Stefan Lanka is a German biologist with a long history of pseudo-scientific outbursts, including the denial of human immune deficiency virus or HIV. In November 2011, he put his money where his mouth was, offering €100,000 $106,000 to anyone who could prove that the measles virus exists. His position is that the disease is a psychosomatic illness caused by traumatic separations. It's all in your head, people. Don't get things in your head, you get sick. The challenge was taken up by David Bardens, a German doctor who compiled evidence from medical journals proving the disease's viral cause. When Lanka rejected the evidence, Barden sued. Well done, mate. I like this guy. There's a time to sue, and this is the time to sue. Last week, a German court found Barden's evidence persuasive and ordered Lanka to pay. He says he'll appeal. Good luck with that one. The case would have the flavour of a legal cabaret act if not for the seriousness of the ongoing measles epidemic in the US and Europe. This is the problem. This was written, I didn't even look when this was written, but it weren't that long ago. March 20th, 2015. So this was 5 years ago. Like Lanka's usually pure publicity stunts. Oh, he does publicity stunts, yes, in newspapers. They sound grandiose, but typically they are framed in such a way that the one issue in the challenge can wriggle out of ever having to pay. They are rigged from the beginning, mainly by not spelling out what kind of evidence would meet the challenge. Novella reckons that Lanka got a little sloppy. Yeah, he did. indeed the phenomenon cranks up, blowing up their own case in court is a long one. The famous episode involves Oscar Wilde in 1895 with a libel suit against the Marquis of Queens. Oh, but we'll go into that one later. We'll go look at that one later. So Mr. is going to lose 100 and odd. Public not being informed. Medical research. Find something else. The Nazification of the NHS. Oh, going to read this rubbish. The coordinated command and control over society called Gleichschaltung was the deadly regime of subjugation in the 1930s German of totalitarianism, later known as Nazification. Yes, we'll just call it Nazification because, sorry Germany, can't do German. Since 2020, the UK government has empowered its own coordinated command and control regime to Nazify the NHS. This is... Oh, really? They've been trying to close down the NHS. Then they make money because they've all invested in private healthcare. They haven't been trying to turn it into a Nazi regime. The aim is to force the health services to conform to government COVID-19 contagion propaganda. Here we go again. This modern-day Nazification provides the means for exerting total power over a general population and healthcare professionals. Yes, you make them wear masks and gloves and protective equipment so they don't get infected, so they're not dying. Why is protecting healthcare officials Nazification? The Nazis didn't give a damn who lived and died, as long as it were... No, seriously. As long as it weren't the one that were dying, they didn't give a shit. So why on earth would they... I don't get that. Now they're flipping putting really rigorous controls and made you suspicious of everyone, which is how Nazism works. And that's how they make you think everyone's a terrorist or everyone's Jewish in the case of Nazis. And you're looking out for all the Jews, and you're absolutely petrified that the Jews are going to stalk upon you. But they haven't done that with the health service. The Health Protection Coronavirus Regulations Act 2020 was an extreme mandate enabling the government to force anyone to produce documents to assist health assessment and provide biological samples for respiratory secretions or blood. Well, they tend to ask beforehand, and they tend not to remove if you don't want it. They're just giving them the option to remove it if they see something. Under its wording, individuals must allow health officials immediate contact, e.g. home entry, to reduce or remove any perceived risk of infection or contamination. Yeah. They did something similar with foot and mouth. They removed any potential infection from farms and stuff. Don't see there's any difference really, apart from one's cows and the other one's people. The experimental injections, they're not experimental-ish. The experimental as in you don't know the long-term effects of it, and you're never going to know the long-term effects of it until everyone's had it for a long time and there wasn't time enough to do long-term side effects. And that is the only thing that wasn't tested for. The experimental injections for COVID-19 could now, via this legislation, be similarly mandated for all healthcare staff and not just for those in care homes. Yeah, rubbish. Good. Since January 2020, Health services have been redesigned. Millions of official designated non-urgent services and scheduled operations have been cancelled or stopped. That's because there isn't enough room for them in the hospitals, because Tories have cut back on their bed capacities. Capacity has been redirected and deployed to create a two-tier system fueled by the contagion propaganda. No, it's not contagion propaganda, there is a contagion. This medical apartheid, operates whenever patients attend a healthcare facility or call in via their GP or 999 or 111. No. GPs are absolutely horrific to get hold of right now, and they usually are in the UK for some strange reason. But if you call 111, 111 rings up your doctor. Will ring up your doctor for you if you cannot get hold of your doctor, and tell the doctor off you will see that patient now, or you will make that patient an appointment. They will also ring up the hospital and let you go into the hospital for emergency treatment. I have done this, and I know they do this. And my son's been into hospital with his toe, because he nearly broke his toe. So, yes, they are treating other symptoms, but not necessarily. And they're also treating cancer. So anyone with cancer that needs to go in, go the fuck in. Get your backside and go in. They are treating you. I don't know why anyone gave anyone the idea that they weren't. Right. They are processed through a skewed bias system which separates patients based on respiratory or non-respiratory symptoms. Not true. This is not usual medical triage. This is a new abnormal skewed bias for a bastardized... No, it isn't. It's a system that is working overtime to sort one thing out while trying to deal with the rest on the side. Any patients identified as respiratory will attract greater likelihood of receiving presumptive COVID-19 diagnosis based on perceived symptom signs without any actual test results, physical evidence, or a confirmed COVID-19 diagnosis based on high variable interpretive tests. Right, the tests aren't... Right, the lateral flow ones that you get to do at home, that you can get in a big box, are not very good. I've actually heard of kids that have to take these tests for school and have to take 2 weeks off school. For the home tests, I've been using lemon juice to skew the test results. Not confirming this, but if you want 2 weeks off work, you can skew the results with lemon juice. And get a positive every time, even though there's nothing wrong with you. And then you have to wait for ages to get the longer test. So kids have already worked that one out. I don't know how accurate that is. Information is that I would just give you, but nothing. The enriching patient is further potential for continuing misdiagnosis and unnecessary medical interventions. No, they don't. They'll only treat you with the respiratory illness in the UK if you need of serious invasive treatment, or you're in need of antibiotics or some other crap. But they don't just go, oh, like in America, oh, you need X, Y, Z because I can bill you for it. They're not billing you for it. They're not going to do it. Statistics are used to inflate the false perception and out of control epidemic. Yeah. The false perception is we've been lied and underplayed how serious the epidemic actually is in the UK. This helps manufacture the pseudo-epidemic. No, there is no pseudo-epidemic. Using real patients as fodder to bump up the numbers to legitimise medical apartheid. Rubbish. They've been actually underplaying how bad it is. in the UK absolutely massively is Boris Johnson. The accuracy of the medical tests used to diagnose the novel COVID-19 has never been scientifically proven. It only claimed to cause a new disease, COVID-19. Right, blah, 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 blah. Both the minute blood clots and iron hemoglobin dissociation reported in those dying with a COVID-19 diagnosis are likely due to the electromagnetic radiation as they are to any alleged novel. What? Electromagnetic from what? Just like the dangerous experimental COVID-19 injections, the COVID-19 tests were first tracked and given emergency licenses, avoided any standard safety assessments. Rubbish. You're just sticking a swab up your nose. Right? There's nothing on that swab that could infect you at all. It is a cotton swab, it is a cotton earbud on a long stick. There's nothing on the test that needs really safety assessing because you're not putting any chemical near you, you're just putting the oversized earbud up your nose. This enables their immediate use and irrespective of their validity, reliability and safety, so guaranteeing liability, free billions for Big Pharma. We don't have Big Pharma in the UK. The corrupt process meant that Public Health England shelved purifying, isolating their own live samples of SARS-CoV-2 so far. According to the PCR test designers in January 2020, only a set of so-called theoretical genes were produced. Yes, theoretical genes. It's in scientific theory. In silicon modelled via a computer algorithm. So we still do not have a live sample of the actual virus cleaned of human cellular debris. This is the first major reason why 22 international scientists in December 2020 co-authored a paper exposing this test. I agree with you, the test isn't accurate. But it's all we've got. But it's not going to cause you electromagnetic doohickeys. These people are fucking cracked. Really are. Who the hell writes this shit? Family members dying alone. So the many raised countless families continue to experience these medical perversions. Family members dying alone without loved ones or in-person spiritual religious support. No, they allow you in now. If the ward isn't that full, you're allowed in. Death hastening, death making via overdrugging, e.g. sedatives like midazolam and analgesic. Why'd you do that with medicines? Analgesic opiates and or blanket ordering of do not attempt resuscitation, including nutrition, medication withdrawal without family or patient consent. If your lungs have collapsed and your heart has stopped and you are brain dead, there is absolutely no reason to resuscitate you. If you're absolutely gone brain dead, that's it. You cannot be revived from that. Removal of public scrutiny oversight in healthcare facilities, nope. No coroners, juries, nope, that's not happening. Obsessional wearing of personal protective equipment, that is happening because you've got to do. Excessive extreme application of patient isolation or partial total exclusion of family loved ones, it's got to be done. Till more people are vaccinated, it's got to be done. Presumptive diagnosis confining death confounding death, illness statistics, and no, you've got to have a test to say you have COVID-19 or an X-ray that shows how badly your lungs are screwed up. Nationwide presumption of contagion, creating fear and promoting public COVID hysteria. There's been no fear. There's been an absolute lack of panic. It's just like, this crap is happening. Let's get on with it. Where I live, I don't know what it's like in London or wherever it is this person wrote this, but it's been like, let's get on with this. See what else I've got. Letter to physicians. 4 new scientific discoveries regarding the safety and efficacy of COVID-19 vaccines. They will be acted upon. Let's have a discovery 1. Proteins were measured on the longitudinal plasma samples collected by 13 participants who received 2 doses of Moderna vaccine. With 11 of 13, the SARS-CoV-2 spike protein was detected in their blood in only day after the first vaccine injection. Significance. I don't think this is right. Spike protein molecules were produced within cells that are in contact with the bloodstream, mostly Basically, you're saying after you gave them their injection, they tested positive for SARS-CoV because that's what's in the injection. Okay. Rapid memory type antibody response. After several studies have demonstrated that circulating COVID-19 IgG antibodies become detectable within 1 or 2 weeks after the application. Yes, that's the whole entire point. Your antibodies are activated. Discovery 3. Repeated 2 or 3 individuals following SARS-CoV infection. Petition is specific antibodies with 193, 95%. These antibodies prevented SARS-CoV-2 infection in cell culture and also inhibited binding of the spike protein receptor. Furthermore, responses specific were clear and quantifiable positive individuals. In addition, basically saying the vaccine works. Do they not even rapid increase of spike protein antibodies after second injection? Jeez. Yes, that's the whole entire point of the vaccine. These get better. Got to be something else in here. Nurse. She's not an NHS nurse. She's been absolutely and utterly found out. Oh look. Dodgy cartoons. I love the cartoons in here. Oh my god. Half Australians locked down as citizens told don't talk to each other. Oh my god. What started as a 2-week lockdown in Sydney at the start of July has expanded to cover more than half of Australia's 25 billion people. As of Tuesday the 20th, as a third state adopted the strict anti-COVID measures as the Delta-induced paranoia continue to swell. That Delta one is massively rampant in the UK, and it is a doozer because the vaccines don't work as well with that. South Australia's ordered a snap lockdown of at least 7 days, joining. I hadn't heard about this actually. This is just rubbish now. Study links acute chest pain in US soldiers to mRNA vaccines. Male soldiers in the US have been struck by sudden acute chest pains following COVID-19 shots, previously retold of rare cases of heart inflammation linked with the mRNA COVID jabs, including the jabs of Pfizer, Bio and Moderna. After a hurried secret meeting, it was that secret that you found out about it, this advisory board on vaccine safety, the FDA issued a warning asking patients experiencing the symptoms to seek help immediately. Isn't this a case of them being very, 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 very cautious? Because it is a new vaccine. Oh look, exciting cooperative solutions growing in more communities. Pharmacy Co-op is not a for-profit organisation that is launched in the Bakewell Peak District National Park. Yeah, you eat healthy, you are better for it, but it doesn't cure flipping cancer and shit. Oh, a new movement is aiming to inform young people of the risks of COVID injections. Really? Future Z, run by 800 UK ride volunteers. Oh, thank God it's only 800. Also seeks to give support to those concerned about long-term health impacts school COVID measures are having on their young children. So they basically set up a charity to convince young people not to have vaccines. A spokesperson told the Light, we have a vast network of concerned and active young people, parents, grandparents, teachers, giving time and skills to raise awareness and create practical alternative solutions. Our initial awareness campaign has been aimed at providing access to well-balanced, accurate information on COVID-19 and the jabs for 12 to 16-year-olds. Just if it's... There isn't a lot of info on 12 to 16-year-olds yet. Not only that, right, and I'm going to say this, not exactly non-biased. So if a child catches a chest infection and gets really sick with that chest infection, after they've had that, you will put it down to that injection. That's the type of people that the campaign seeks to empower young people to take time to look carefully at the data before making any decision with their parents. It plugs the void of information presented by the UK government that you can get on the NHS website, all the information you need about COVID-19 vaccines. We do this, we go onto Google's, we go NHS COVID-19 vaccine. Hang on a minute. Boom. There we go. COVID-19 vaccines are currently available in 2 doses, using the second dose 8 to 12 weeks after the first dose. If you're aged 18 or over or will turn 18 within 3 book your appointment, people aged 16 and 17 and children aged 12 to 15 who are eligible will be contacted, blah, 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 blah. Second dose types of side effects. Side effects. Sore arm from the injection, feeling tired, a headache, feeling naked. You see, there is information. Pregnancy breaks. You can get vaccinated against COVID-19 if you are aged 16 and over, you are pregnant or think you might be, you're breastfeeding, you're trying for a baby or might get pregnant in the future. Do you want the list of... And it's all on there. COVID-19 vaccine side effects and safety information. You see? All there, yes. Devoid of information. It's like the devoid of your information, which is crap. Oh God, it's this guy. This guy is just... The disease known as COVID-19 was never anything more than the means to an end. A training program, the lockdowns, the masks, the social distances will soon be back. Yes, because of people like you. The plan of mandatory vaccines for all, something I warned about 18 months ago, to be part of our lives forever. And the mandatory vaccines won't just be for COVID-19. You have mandatory vaccines when you go abroad. It's not a new thing. They're just expanding it out. And you have mandatory flu vaccines already in the healthcare system. For a year they promised that their experimental COVID-19 jabs would not be mandatory and that there would be no discrimination between the jabbed and unjabbed. But they were lying, of course. No, they never said that. They said there might be restrictions. You'd have to be mentally deficient in some way, perhaps through wearing a mask too long and suffering from inevitable dementia. Masks cause dementia. Did you text this to the surgeons that spend 12 hours a day in masks normally, and the builders and veterinarians that spend long hours in masks are all going to get dementia? Is this some work-related thing that they all need to sue for? If you were a vet and you have dementia, you caught it from your mask. Please feel free to sue your business. Oh. As we can now see why Bill Gates told governments to give us indemnity to the drug companies. Without indemnity, the courts would be clogged with lawsuits brought by injured vaccine victims. There have been some vaccine injuries. And there's injuries via paracetamol as well, and ibuprofen. Even hay fever medication can give you side effects. So, someone's got to kill you. Incidentally, I expect you'll be pleased to know that Microsoft's Irish arm made a profit of $222 billion last year. Wow. No, not really. The Guardian and the BBC both described Gates, their financial partner, as a philanthropist. He's not their financial partner, and he is a philanthropist. He makes lots of cash, like Elon Musk, who doesn't like vaccines. Meanwhile, the vaccinated can now go to an airport, wait 6 hours to be processed, and travel to El Salvador, Gabon and Kosovo. Sadly, they may not be able to come back without a lengthy stay in an airport hotel at both ends. But let's not be gloomy. This is obviously a great breakthrough for those dreaming of an exciting 2-week stay on top of an accursed mountains in the centre of the Balkans. Could be worse. My worst place to go in the Balkans. Syria. Afghanistan right now. That'd be pretty bad. Truth is that this war has hardly started, and we have a concrete, hard, abandoned all our differences and dedicate ourselves to fighting for our freedom, our humanity and our identity and our lives. Really? Jeez. I've got a big posh education, know some big fancy words. Really doesn't matter a damn whether or not COVID-19 was created in a laboratory. Is really an eczema is this year's version of the common garden flu, or fell off the back of a lorry. COVID-19 is merely a distraction from artificial threat devised to create terror and obedience and force citizens around the world to abandon their senses. Okay. So this guy, he has a few others on this website. Let's just... Oh, you've got merch there. Let's have a look. 1,400 deaths, 1 million injured from COVID injections. How to extrapolate the truth and turn it into the biggest pile of bullshit ever. Injuries include blindness, blood clots, paralysis, MS, stillbirths. And they are being censored by media and big tech. Now, what you found is coincidental. Someone had the vaccine, then something happened to them, but there is absolutely no connection in a lot of these cases to the vaccine. Oh, look. Censorship now at Orwellian levels. No. I'm frightened. Sat here chomping at stuff. I'll think of something to discuss. Masks do more harm than good. What happened to rebellious artists? Virtually every filmmaker, actor, musician promotes the established narrative on every subject. Really? There was once a time, not so long ago, you could count an artist to be one of the most rebellious groups in society. Such a thing is no longer a new phenomenon, as artists have always pushed the boundaries and have been a thorn in the side of this. Basically, you want someone to be on your side with this crap that you are selling. Oh. Gates money experts investigating aluminium and brain disease. Like, what? One of the leading experts on the effects of aluminium on animal and human health, and not least the use of aluminium since the 1930s in vaccination, Dr. Christopher Exley of Keele University, has been cancelled by his university. In recent years, he has accepted funding from the foundation run by Bill Gates, whose investments in vaccines are huge. Bill Gates invests in vaccines. Probably invests in a lot of shit. Google this chap. I'm sus now. felt there's a lot of them. Gotta put a link through. Free Nations Net. Why do I want to click on some of these links? Black Lives Matter. Oh, Black Lives Matter chapter founded it in Minnesota has resigned, claiming that the organisation isn't concerned about helping black communities or helping improve the education quality of Minneapolis, according to the video published in the middle of June. They can be a bit broke. I think that's probably... No one can argue that black lives are the same as white lives. But Black Lives Matter might have a few too many bad eggs in it. Like any of these organisations. New downward turn means that the Lebanese pound has lost more than 90% of its value. Why are they discussing Lebanese pound? They're just sticking stuff in. Solar energy is good. Right. We've all heard of going green and sustainable, trying to say that how much of what we are, repeatedly told by giant corporations, advertisements, governments and world organisations is actually true. While being a medium destructive to build and operate due to the rare earth elements needed to manufacture and then oil needed to transport them all over the world, no one has yet figured out how to safely dispose of 50 million tonnes of these. See, this is the problem. This might actually... some of it is a scam. I've argued this for veganism a long time. I'm going to turn this all off and we're going to find someone on YouTube to watch. So we're going to stop recording for a second.